You understand? People don't want to waste their time in line, standing in line at Walmart or some other place. You don't want to waste your time because you know it's valuable. You don't know how much of it you have. You know how much money you have, but you don't know how much time you have. As a matter of fact, there was a movie back in the day, I think Justin Timberlake did. You ever heard of it called In Time?
I don't think I have.
It was Justin Timberlake's like a Edomite pop star or whatever, but he did this movie called In Time in the future, and the way that they lived, they had to buy and purchase time. You know, that to some people that would be a lot easier because they millionaires say, well, I can just live forever. You know, so I can keep buying time. You know, thank the Most High, it's not like that. But you want to spend your time wisely in order to increase your time. See, time is not a given thing, and you actually have a hand in how much time that you spend on this earth, in this life. Because you can make the wrong decision and you can be doing time, hard time. You ever heard of that? People go to prison. That's why they say you're doing hard time. Now you don't have the freedom to utilize your time correctly. And it's quite interesting because when we look in the Bible, before God created people, animals, and trees, he created time. Why is that the thing that's being distorted? A lot of people don't grasp that concept. Wait a minute, there must be something to my time. Because why did Satan change or think to change the times? We're going to talk about that. Your time is important. And you got to be mindful of who wastes your time or who you devote your time to. You ever get on the telephone or the cell phone or whatever, and people just talk like they just talking about nothing? You wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
I missed out on the show or missed out on something I was trying to do because you talking my head off. You wasting my time. And that's what the devil wants to do in totality of your life, to waste your time. Imagine you running a race in the wrong direction. That's what it is when you're in a false religion. You're supposed to be using your time to manifest the Most High's glory in your life by his laws, statutes, and commandments. That's how you manifest the Most High's glory in your life. But when you're in a false religion like Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Egyptology, Kemet, Confucius, and different ideologies and philosophies, you're running in the wrong direction. What did Paul say? You know, you got to run the race. You know what I'm talking about? That race is in that narrow path. And that's the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. So the Most High is not the author of confusion. Now, drop that and let's get the book of Genesis chapter 1 and verse 14. We talked about God creating time first. Sometimes we overlook that. What did the Most High create in Genesis? Did he create animals? Did he create trees? He created time because we all have to abide by it. It's an invisible law of God. Time. Some people will say it's perception, it's a concept, but the Bible says otherwise. Let's get that.
Come. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 14. And God said.
Who said it?
And God said.
The Most High say, not us. Go ahead.
Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night.
Okay, so the Most High is establishing, you see right here, he's outside of time, right? He's infinite. Go ahead.
And let them be for signs and for seasons.
For signs and seasons. So the Most High was very specific on how he wants things to be concerning time. Go ahead.
And for days and years.
Right. Days and years. Now, according to the devil, your oppressor's calendar and time clock, he says that a day starts at midnight, 12 a.m. When, according to the Most High, a day is sundown to sundown. You see what I'm saying? He's causing confusion in your life, even messing up your circadian rhythm, how you sleep. It's called confusion. Your time is very valuable. It is. That's why it's important that you spend your time wisely so that you can increase your time. Because a lot of people spend their time in a lie and then they lose their time because they lose their life. Right? Read that again.
From time. So the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and verse 14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night.
Right. And that's the purpose, to divide day and the night. Go ahead. And
let them be for signs and for seasons.
Now think about this too. In the mind of God, he gives us a clue on how he was thinking. Why does he need things to be for times and seasons, so to speak? Because he already knows what he's going to create after that. What he's trying to do is he's trying to govern his creation with time. Now, anybody that wants to distort that wants to go against the ways of the Most High, right? Go ahead.
And for days and years.
Right, for years, right? Go ahead.
Verse 15. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth.
Most High in Christ. I think that's it on that. Drop that and let's get Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. If we got any questions online, go ahead and type them in. We'll answer your questions concerning scripture. I'd like to remind you also to go to isupk.com and pay your tithes. Man, it's these times are dismal. You know, and Commander Junior Hunter is helping the people, but we need your support in order for him to do the work of the Most High. I mean, the Most High is going to provide regardless, but your contribution will help out. Make sure you go to that website, isupk.com. There's a link there where you can submit your tithes, your donations, your alms. Man, do something good for your people, Blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people who are the true Israelites according to the Bible. Tonight's topic, we're talking about history of the devil's timetable, because a lot of y'all just celebrated so-called New Year's, and you thinking, oh, it's the beginning of great things. Not if you're not on the right timetable according to God. The beginning of the New Year is during the month of Abib, according to the scriptures, right? And you got to know, okay, let's just say this. Let's say you went for a job interview, right? And they tell you to be there at a specific time. And then you set your clock, but your clock is an hour behind, right? Now, don't you think that will make a difference? You're going to get to your interview an hour late. You said it correctly, but you're going to get there late. Same thing as with the Most High's timetable. The Most High wants us to do something. That's a law that we celebrate the Passover. Imagine us celebrating it, too late.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's why the devil want to throw you off. And he uses time as the first thing he want to do to distort your life. Throw your timetable off, according to God. That's why we just read he created time before he created people, because he knew that his time was going to govern people and govern animals. That's why a lot of people don't want to waste it. Let's get there.
10 and 9.
Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. You got to know this. Some of y'all feel like, man, you wasting my time now. I'm about to scroll. Look here. I'm trying to help save your time in the future. Because if you learn the laws of the Most High, that's going to sustain your life, which means it's going to increase your time on the earth. But when you want to learn something else, you want to listen to some silly rap song, or somebody tell you to go out and sell drugs or shoot somebody, prostitute, do drugs, that's going to waste your time. Some people will make one decision and it'll take them down a path that wastes the rest of their life. Therefore, destroying your time. A drug. You do one drug. Don't be. No, you go ahead and do it. You a punk. You don't want to do it. You don't want to hit it. You hit it. And then it mess up your mind. And you can't get your mind back. Or you go with the wrong people. You ever get pressured to do that? Peer pressure? Go somewhere you know you don't got no business going. See, these are all different things that we need to look at, because that's what the devil's intent is to do, is to destroy you, therefore diminishing your time on earth. Because that's the thing you can't control. You can make money, you can change your appearance, get in shape, change your conduct. You can even decide who you relate to, your relationships. But some things you can't decide. It's how much time you have. I have. That's why we pray. We pray that the Most High will keep us safe and our families safe, so we will have more time in this life, right? It's really important. And that's why the world wants to distort your concept of time, saying that it's a new year. It's actually the dead of winter. How's it going to be a new year?
Right.
So let's read that in the scriptures and let's see the Most High's thoughts concerning time.
Come. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time.
So this is the purpose for time. So everything there's a, read that again.
To everything there is a season and a time.
So the Most High, he created the times for a purpose, for a season. Go ahead.
To every purpose under the heaven.
Every purpose under the heaven, right? Just like a flower, it takes time to grow. It doesn't, you plant a seed, it's not going to pop up the next day. He created things to happen in the process of time. A baby is out the womb. It takes the scriptures say 10 months for that baby to be formed in the womb. The Most High prescribed the time for that to happen. You don't get impregnated one day and then you have the baby the next.
Right.
See what I'm saying? It's the process of time. Same thing is with your life. A lot of people want to bypass the process and they want to do things when they're not mature enough to do it. Just like a child. You have a child wants to climb on things and get into things it's not supposed to, thinking it's mature. They watch the parent do things and they try to emulate that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Sometimes we want to do things and we want to skip God's process of time, or the Most High's process of time. Everything's a process. You know what I mean? And this scripture validates it. Now, matter of fact, I think this is the one that has a litany, like a list of, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, come.
Yeah, let's read a few things in there.
Come. Verse 2. A time to be born.
All right, we talked about that.
And a time to die.
See, that's that right there. That right there sums it up. Time. There's a time to be born and a time to die. We only have so much time, so we don't want to waste it. We want to glorify the Most High with the time that He gives us, in our conduct and how we live, not going against the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Because a lot of people figure, I've been doing this the same way since, and nothing happened to me yet. Right. I've been eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. I'm still alive. But you don't understand. That's slowly killing you. You understand? Go ahead.
A time to plant and a time to pluck up.
All right. We talked about the seed. You grow something and then you harvest it. Go ahead.
That which is planted. Verse 3. A time to kill and a time to heal. Now, this right here, a lot of Christians can't understand, because right here it's saying a time to kill. No, thou shalt not kill. Actually, it means thou shalt not murder in the Hebrew, like the intent, a malicious intent. Why do we have an army then? Why do we have a police force? See, they justify the laws when it comes to them. Right. It's no, the Bible says this. But here's the thing.
The Most High knew in his creation, he would have enemies and we would have enemies. Now, I'm not advocating anybody go out and do anything, but the scriptures say there's a time to kill. What you gonna do? Let somebody smack your wife, beat your kid, come in your house, steal your stuff? No, you're gonna defend your family and your property, right? Your oppressor knows that. He knows that all too well. Except he came with a malicious intent, which is murder, right? But the point is I'm just trying to show you that there's a time. The Most High made time, and it's very important. And now, to distort your time, we talked about the example with the clock, you having a job interview. It's very important because you could be wasting your time in a false religion, in Christianity, believing in a white Jesus. You know how much of my life I wasted believing that image? You know, because you when you see that image and you believe that the Most High God is that image, and that's the measure of beauty, when you look at yourself in the mirror and then you look at your people, then you look at yourself as being inferior. You believe that that's the measure of standard. Maybe God, that's God. That's the best it is to be, not my people. And that's why it's important that you have the right perception of the Most High and Christ. But you could be wasting your time and believing otherwise. We don't want to waste your time here, man. The Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under command of Jim Yohana does not want to waste your time. We want to tell you the truth and you decide for yourself. You understand? And we read right out the scriptures. These scriptures was here long before we got here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not making this up. We're reading it. Now I'm adding my commentary to it so you get the understanding of it. But the point is that you don't want to waste your time, right? And the world is trying to do that. They're going to waste your time with frivolous things, give you all sorts of entertainment, you know, the runaround. You ever, you know, you try to talk to somebody on the phone, you don't like that, waiting on the phone. You trying to get an answer from somebody, you on hold. It's wasting your time. Right? We all have that concept internally that, man, I do not want to be on this phone because it's wasting my time. And then you get on the phone and talk to the person, and then something happened and they hang up. You ever have that happen? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I was waiting on the phone for an hour.
Right.
They wasted my time. You don't want to do that in your life. So in order for us to appropriate our time properly, we got to understand the concept of what the Most High wanted us to know about time. Not what the world say, celebrate New Year's, Janus. You're going to be, you know, you're all these different things to throw you off. The Most High got an appointment with you and you don't make it. Oh, that gets deep. We can talk about the feast days, his feast days, his appointed days, but that gets a little deep. So we're going to drop that. Now, I'm going to show you how the devil changed the timetable, the history of the devil's timetable. Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. Now, this is the prophet Daniel. And he's speaking about the oppressor. Who's the devil? Well, the people or the person that changed God's timetable. Because devil means deceiver. That's what it means. And the purpose is to throw you off everything. Because if your time's not right, nothing else is right. Imagine you waking up and you think, okay, it's 8 o'clock. But it's 12 o'clock. Threw your whole day off. You're supposed to go to the market, pick up the kids. It threw your whole day off because your time was off. That's why we need to get your time right so your life will get right. Right? Let's get that.
Come on. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Now, I'm skipping down for the sake of time, but Daniel is talking about, he's basically talking about the oppressor today, right? Go ahead. And who speaks great words against the Most High? Think about that. Think about when the coronavirus happened, and I'm just saying this on general terms. You remember that governor from New York? What's his name? Cuomo? Did you remember that? He was saying something about like when they was able to slow down the plague in New York.
You talking about when he said that COVID isn't from God?
Yeah, he said something to that effect to take the credit.
Okay.
And I think he said God. I think he said something to this effect that God didn't stop it, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said something to that effect. That's this person in the scriptures. Go ahead, read that again. Slocky.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
Right, he spoke against the Most High. The white man, or the oppressor, spoke against the Most High. Go ahead.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
Who's the saints of the Most High? The Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous on earth today. He wore us out in slavery. He conquered, the indigenous here in America. And if you want to add something anytime, go ahead. And then also the Hispanics, paying cheap labor wages for hard work. He wear us out in his captivity. Go ahead.
And think to change times.
Think to change what?
To change times and laws.
Because the law, time is a law. So that's what he think. It's funny how he didn't think to change the environment. He didn't think to change water or the fruit. Well, he did that eventually. But it's funny how they mentioned this. He think to change times and laws. These are the foundational things that govern your life. Because you manage your time. Some of y'all, you watch that chicken. I gotta make sure that chicken don't burn. It's a certain time it's gonna burn. Right. I gotta make sure I take my medicine at this time. Your time. If he can think to change your time, your concept of time, it's gonna throw everything off. Right? It's not natural for many people to work the third shift. You ever had to work the third shift and sleep during the day? Throws off your circadian rhythm, your natural melatonin, how you sleep, throws that off. So if he can change his concept of time, giving you a new year, saying Christ was born, because contrary to popular belief, the Most High, he prescribed certain laws for us to observe at certain times. And if you don't, then you was late. You was late to the party, so to speak. And that's important. Then you didn't fulfill the law. Like the Passover. We're going to talk about that. It's to be fulfilled at a certain time. But if you believe in the devil's timetable, you're going to celebrate Easter. That's what you're going to celebrate. You're going to celebrate Easter, right? Or you're going to be like the Jewish man, and you're going to celebrate Hanukkah or some other God-forsaken holiday or feast day that the oppressor came up with. Read that from the top again.
Come. So the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time.
This also tells you that there's a time when Christ is coming back, until a time. That's what we in now. We waiting for Christ's return. Some people say, man, y'all been waiting for a long time. They've been talking this stuff since my grandmama died waiting on Christ. Or my grandpa or whoever, But here's the thing. It's by faith. I know I ain't trying to sound all Christian and all that, but the thing is that's what we doing this, because the just shall live by faith. You ever heard that? I'm just paraphrasing. You understand? But some people, they don't want to believe that the Most High has a time when he's coming back. Christ is coming back with them angels, them so-called UFOs. I know that sounds strange to you too, but he's coming back to make things right, because we talk about God's not the author of confusion. It's confusion right now. And you don't know what time it is, like they used to say back in the day. So I think that's it on that. Drop that, and let's get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1. It's crazy. Everybody has a concept of time but they wasted on studies. Matter of fact, I think we are going to go into Apocrypha. But Solomon had a comment concerning time. By leisure. Let me see if I can find this real quick. But the thing is the more free time you have on your hands, it gave you time to become wise. Because see, Solomon was considered the wisest king or man on the planet. You understand? At that time, at least. And he had a very telling thing concerning time and how you spend it. It actually can increase your wisdom, right? Let me see. I think this is in the Ecclesiasticus chapter 38 and 24. Yeah, and that's why we can't waste our time. Now think about what happened in slavery, right? Our people, our ancestors, was out on those plantations, those cotton fields, and we was picking cotton, and we was made to keep busy. You know why? The same reason you made to keep busy today. So you can't think and get your way out of your oppression. It's distracting you. That's why they tell us, when we are on street corners, they say, what do they tell us? Go get a job.
Right.
They don't want us to be out there, have the free time to wake our people up. You understand me? They don't care, anything about our livelihood. They don't want us to have the leisure to warn our people, to wake up our people. You understand? And you need time to do that. Because when you're in survival mode, you working all the time, and you thinking about how to survive, not how to, let alone free somebody else or wake somebody else and give them wisdom. And that's what the Most High, he wanted you to have the time to glorify him in your life, not to be a slave, running the rat race like the hamster and the wheel. Mm-hmm. That's what they do. Let's read that. Let's see what Solomon said.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38 and verse 24.
Salaki. I'm not really sure if Solomon wrote this, I think, but let's see what the author said. If I could. Salaki.
It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38 and verse 24. The wisdom of a learned man,
and this can apply to a woman too. Go ahead.
Cometh by opportunity of leisure.
Opportunity of what?
Of leisure.
You working all the time.
Of leisure.
Of leisure. That's the reason why they tell us go get a job when we out there at camp, to keep us busy, to keep us occupied. Matter of fact, I think that's in the Exodus. They said, you remember when they was making the mortar bricks, or they need the mortar. Mm-hmm. The taskmaster, what did he say? He said something about you slack. I forgot. I'm see if I can find that one. But the point is he wanted to occupy our time so that we can't have the time of reason and figure out what we need to do for the Most High. That's what they want to do. They waste your time. Sometimes I'm not saying that going to college is a bad thing. I went to college, got a degree and all that kind of stuff like that. But sometimes we can go down a path and it's just a waste of time. Good night. I got this degree and I can't do nothing with it. I'm just saying that's what some people think. They go to school for 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, and then they was out of a job when the pandemic hit. You better learn some real life skills. You understand? You better learn what the Most High wants you to do. There's nothing wrong with education and all that, but we need to know where we're being educated or who we're being educated from. You understand? Because if, like I said, you could be running the race in the wrong direction, sprinting as hard as you can. I'm going to get my degree. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Now you see a lot of people are figuring out ways to have passive income from home, because in case everything gets shut the hell down again. You understand? Let's get that again.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38, verse 24. Mm-hmm. The wisdom of a learned man.
Wisdom. Go ahead.
Cometh by opportunity of leisure. Mm-hmm. And he that hath little business shall become wise.
Right. When you're always busy, you can't become wise because your mind is occupied on other things. Like, I'm going to clap it up for these sisters right here. You know what I'm saying? Because they are spending time to learn something that's going to carry them in their life. Instead of being out there, what they say, you know, busybody.
Right.
You understand me? Busybody. You know, it's crazy. All the glutton and the lewdness and the vile reveling that happened a couple of days ago, the new year. And people swear up and down, look, I'm going to get my stuff together this year. You said that last year and the year before last. And you get worse and worse and worse. That's the thing about it. Because you're not spending your time properly. You understand? And we need to learn what the Most High wants so we can extend that time. I'm just repeating it, repetition. Because you learn by repetition. You need to know this. God created time before he created people. That's why it's important. You need to know about how to use your time properly. So read that one more time so we can get this.
Come on. So the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 38 and verse 24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that hath little business shall become wise.
But look at what the Christian church say. Oh, yeah, get you a good man. Yeah, you're supposed to have, be able to earn a living and all that, but get you a good man at work. You want your man working all the time, just being a slave? You know,
right?
We need to free that man up so he can have time to get wise. You understand? And maybe he might have that multi-million-dollar idea. You know what I mean? Right. So he won't have to physically work so hard, bust his knuckles, working at the warehouse.
It's like, if I could, not only does the Christian church tell sisters to, go out and get them a man that has money, but they also tell the sisters that have a man that doesn't make as much as they think he should. They tell them to feed them just beans and rice. Right. You understand? They tell them not to cook him a meal for that night and to be a complete dragon until he gets his act together.
Good night.
Like, all the Christian church does is build the perfect slaves for America. Like Officer Hamakobath brought out earlier, the Christian church, they teach us to worship that oppressor image of Yahushua or Christ, so that it is that we look up to our oppressor. And on top of that, they just tell us to work our lives away so that we can't get the knowledge that our people need in these scriptures in order to come out of this captivity. So
I'm right. That's real heavy. You're saying they want you on that hamster wheel. You know, we talked about the hamster wheel. You ever see a hamster running on it? You going nowhere. You going nowhere. And that's the way they want Blacks, Hispanics, and indigenous people. Meanwhile, they sit back like a fat cat and enjoy all the pleasures of life. While you, the battery for America. That's what you are. You the Energizer Bunny for America. You running around here doing this and this and that, and they just sit back and collect money off of us. All the heathens do. All the other races of people on the planet, see, they get to spend their time in leisure. You know, I mean, it's natural for us to gravitate toward pleasure because the Most High made things for his pleasure, all things for his pleasure. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But here's the thing. It got to be done in due time. You see what I mean? A lot of people want to get to the pleasure quick. Sometimes you got to work hard. You got to do what you have to so you can do what you want. You understand? I had to do that. You know, I mean, I didn't just arrive here. Went through many, worked on slaves, military, college, different things to get to what I want to do. It didn't happen just overnight. It's a process of time. Right. And the Most High made it that. Now, when we come into the kingdom, of course, we're going to work and labor, but it's going to be of leisure.
Right.
Because we're going to be working for our righteous king, not an unrighteous oppressor. Have you working, busting your knuckles, and you don't get nothing. Imagine that. 400 something years. You don't have to pay your workers nothing. You know how big your pockets can get?
Right.
You can, and then you can't even think about how to get your way out of your situation because you're too busy working. Meanwhile, he's formulating plans. He's setting plans in the future, already thinking about ways that you might try to get out of your oppression and then putting blockades there. Thank the Most High for Christ that he gave us these words.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to thank the Most High for Christ. Our King gave us the way out. That's to live by the law, statutes, and commandments. Do we got to grab a gun and say, yeah, we're going to go take you crackers? No, you don't got to do all that. You go get the first one shot. You ever heard of Crispus Attucks? You probably don't. History buff. Tonight's a history class. But yeah, that was a black man that got shot I think the Revolutionary War. He was the first one that got shot or something like that. Look, man, you're going to have to do things the Most High's way. And that's why it's important to understand your time. Tonight's class, history of the devil's timetable. He created a time for you to live by, to throw you off. Matter of fact, I'll send you another link. We're going to talk about the Gregorian Calendar.
Okay.
That's all these months we live by in this captivity: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, all that. Number one, those months are named after a false deity. If you didn't know that, those are all false gods that you are honoring each month. And then on top of that, it's in the wrong season. It's in the wrong season on God's calendar, so to speak. Right? And what happened was what happened was he knew that. He knew that because he knew that the Most High created time first. Mess with your time. I keep saying this. I'm drilling it in like a college professor, drilling it in your mind for you to understand your time is very important. You understand? And we got to know that because we waste our time on frivolous, dumb things. We got to know that the Most High is very concerned about our life and the direction that we go. And sometimes that's hard to understand because we go through terrible times at times, right? Different things happen. Circumstances arise and we can't understand, why am I going through this? Well, some of that is to mature your character. And a lot of it is the devil and your oppressor and Satan when you go through. But the Most High made a way out. He made a way of escape for us. You understand? So if I will, I'm going to read this in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16 and 1. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16 and 1. Because the Bible has some very interesting things to say about time. And we know that the Most High created it because he mentioned it. He gave his prophets the insight into time, right? So this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1. And it reads, observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover unto the Lord. Now, anybody know the month of Abib? Right. That's the thing. That's the reason why. So we don't know the month of Abib. How do we know to keep the Passover? You see the point? Now, this is a law. This is a commandment of God. But they'll give us Easter, around April or so. And then also the birth of Christ. And it's often funny that the Most High didn't necessarily tell us the exact time of the birth of Christ in the Bible because we would be so carnal, we'll create a holiday for that. And he didn't want us to do that. He wanted us to observe his feast days. So your time is very important. So I'm going to read that again. Hey, shalom, Lord Christ, for you. Yeah, but so, book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16 and 1, it reads, observe the month of Abib. And if we're not on the correct timetable, we're not going to know when to observe the Passover. Thank the Most High, for Commander Junior Hanna and the ISUPK, because now we know the correct season we're supposed to be in. We didn't go out here and celebrate New Year's January 1st.
Right.
Getting drunk, reveling, drinking yourself in a stupor, passing out, throwing up naked, all kind of abominable things that they do around that time of the year. We are on the Most High's calendar, and tonight's topic is called The History of the Devil's Timetable. We're talking about how the oppressor changed the time that's different than God's time or calendar. Because that was the first thing God created, was time. He created time before he created people, because he created time to govern people and to govern the vegetation and to govern the animals, to govern the seasons. So with that knowledge, your oppressor is going to distort that. He's going to change your view of time. And what we need to do is appropriate our time correctly. So if I could read that again in Deuteronomy 16:1.
Come on. It's book of Deuteronomy, chapter 16 and verse 1. Observe the month of Abib.
Now, let me ask you, brother, when's the month of Abib? You want to know, right? Right, you're not going to know. 16:1. Right, Deuteronomy 16:1. That's the point. That's to throw you off. Now, this is a law we're supposed to observe. A lot of fake Israelite groups, they are serving, they serving the wrong time. That's because they're not in the Isupk. They trying to observe the Passover on the wrong time. You know what I mean? Some of them probably going to observe the Passover next month. They don't know no better. They're ignorant. You know what I'm saying? And we got to know what God wants us to know so that we can do what he wants us to do. Right. Go ahead.
And keep the Passover.
You got to keep the Passover. But if you're not on the right month, you're not going to know when to keep it. Go ahead.
Unto the Lord thy God.
Unto the Lord. It's and this is a statute that we're supposed to keep forever. So, you know what? Satan can accuse them. Look at them. Look at them. They celebrating Janus. They love Janus more than they do you, Lord. They don't care nothing about Christ's sacrifice, the Passover, none of that.
Right.
They celebrating Janus, getting drunk. They don't deserve mercy. They don't deserve salvation. That's Satan, the accuser of the brother. He's up there in the courtroom. I'm gonna tell you this. Look at him. Look, I put the tape. I'm gonna run the tape back. Look at Jamal back here in the club. Look at him. He can run the tape back in the heaven's court. Look at him. Look at Jamal. Look at him smoking that blunt, popping Molly. Yeah, he don't care nothing about you or none of that. He read that Bible. He don't care nothing about that, Lord. So therefore, I don't think he deserved no mercy. He too busy doing his own thing. Matter of fact, he loved, Satan talk like it. He loved me more than you love you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's how he's coming in the court. He's coming hard, trying to get your life, trying to get you. He's like, a prosecutor in the courtroom. That's what Satan's job is. He's the accuser of the brother. He's trying to get the Most High to think, and that's in the book of Job, by the way, if you don't believe me, because that's how you try to come at Job. Look at him. He only worships you. I'm just paraphrasing because you do such good things for him. He'll curse you. He'll curse you out if you didn't do all that. See what I'm saying? But pertaining to the topic, we got to know what the Most High, when the Most High wants to do certain things in the scripture, and the oppressor's job is to throw you off. And we read that in the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 25, where he was to think to change the times and the laws. And that's what he did. Now you're going to read about the Gregorian Calendar. I think I sent you that. This is a method that he did use to do that. The Gregorian Calendar. I can't hardly say, black folks, and can't, say all the heathen tongue language. You make up words and try to make it make sense. Gregorian, whatever. It's like that Omarion variant. What's it called? I don't know. I call it the Omarion. I don't know how to say a Cromana. I just call it a Marion. It's like that. I know who Marion. They call Marion. That's how black people do. I'm being silly, y'all, but that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, let's get this. And here's what's so strange, though, too. If I could, we live by that. We live by these months and these days, and we never question where they came from. We just, January. Today, January. February, not knowing that these are months to honor different gods and deities, false gods and deities. It has nothing to do with the Most High God. So if I will, let's get that scripture. Slocky, that paragraph I sent you if I could, Slocky.
Come. It's from Wikipedia. Gregorian Calendar.
Mm-hmm.
The Gregorian Calendar is the calendar used in most of the world.
Most of the world. That tells you, look, even the goddamn stinking Hamite go off this. He celebrating New Year's.
Right.
In his doo-doo hut. You know what I'm saying? He's celebrating goddamn New Year's. The Chinese man, the rat-eating goddamn Moabite. You know what I'm saying? You ever see in Shanghai, they setting off all the fireworks and all that stuff like that? It's wrong. That also a clue to tell you that they not the people of God neither, because they celebrating in ignorance. Go ahead.
It was introduced in October 1582
Good night.
by Pope Gregory 13th. XII 13.
I think the X is 10. Right?
Come. By Pope Gregory the 13th.
Right, the Pope. This is a church person in a Catholic church. So who's running your life? Is it the Most High or is it the Pope? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
As a modification of the Julian calendar.
The Julian calendar. Now, here's the thing, how it's supposed to work. What we talked about in the book of Genesis. The bodies in the so-called heavenly bodies is what dictates time. You think about you had science class, right? And all that different. How the Earth rotates, in the solar system, and the sun and the planets. That is what the Most High set in motion, and it continues like that. But your oppressor is gonna go against that. That's why they have something called leap years. You ever heard of a leap year? They add time to the calendar. Say it's a leap year. Like, man, how the hell are you gonna add time? You know what I'm saying?
What's it called? They just did that.
Yeah, I think it was supposedly a leap year, maybe a year or two ago. I don't know. I don't keep up with it. I keep up with the Most High's calendar. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what they call it.
What's it?
Daylight savings.
Daylight savings. You're right. How you gonna add and take from time? You know what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. And that's why we need to, like we talked about, God's not the author of confusion. We need to be on God's timetable, so we can know, what the Most High wants us to do and when He wants us to do it, not what the oppressor wants us to do when He wants us to do it, right?
Right.
Let's get some more on it.
Reducing the average year from 365.25 days to 365.24, it's like 2,425 days.
Okay. We talked about in Daniel 7 and 25. That's one you want to highlight, where he's going to thank the change, the time, and the law. And that's what he did right there. He did that with the Gregorian calendar. You see what I'm saying? The calendar that we live on. Now, of course, us being in a captivity, we wise to understand this. And we move in life, we move, number one, according to the Most High's time. But then, because we in this captivity, we're not stupid. We got to live in this captivity. We move our way in His calendar. You see what I'm saying? And it's nothing wrong with that, because you're being wise. You see what I'm saying? As long as you're observing the Most High first. You know what I mean?
Right.
You wouldn't go to work on your off day, would you? No. You know what I'm saying? You just being wise, like the scriptures say. Any more on it? Or is that it?
Okay. And adjusting for the drift in the tropical or solar year that the inaccuracy had caused during the intervening centuries. That's it.
Yeah. So the point in it is that this is a proof that who said that? They said the Pope, right?
Pope Gregory the 13th.
Pope Gregory. Now go back to Daniel 7:25, if you could, to prove our point in the scriptures. Because we talked about in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, how the Most High created the days create the years and the seasons for time. Now, who would distort that? Somebody that wants to cause confusion, and God is not the author of confusion. So to prove my point, I'm going to go to Daniel chapter 7 and 25.
Book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High,
right?
And think to change times and laws.
And that's what he did with that calendar. The Pope did that. And he's the one that spoke against the Most High. Because when you come against the Most High's ways, that's what you're doing. You understand? He had a conversation and said, no, this is the way it should be. Because he thinks he's God. You understand? You got to know that. And if he think he's God, what do you think about you, black man, Hispanic, indigenous, man, woman, child? What do you think about us? He thinks that he's above us. Because he think he's God. He can do anything he wants. Put his face on the money, change the time, tell you what to do, when to celebrate. Look, you can eat cake today. Your birthday, supposedly. That's the day I allow you to eat cake. You can't eat it tomorrow, but you can eat it when I say. So go get them candles, nigga. Put them on that cake, and you eat when I tell you to eat. Put them Christmas lights up. Put that tree up when I tell you to do it. You give them kids a gift when I tell you to give them a gift. And you give me the credit, a white man the credit for doing it.
Right.
That's your oppressor, man. He controls your life to dictate and disguise your time in which you live in. That's the devil the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
To deceive you in your very time, your existence. And that's why you need to know that. This is like, what's that pill they give you in that movie, The Matrix, to wake you up? I forgot which one it is, a red or the blue pill. I forgot. Whatever pill they give you, that's what this tonight's class is the pill for the truth. To wake you up out of your slumber, out of your sleep. Scriptures talk about that too. You got to get out of your sleep. Some people just, I don't care about that. It's a good time. It make me feel good. Get some champagne, get drunk, turn up. You see what I'm saying? I mean, look here. Ain't nothing wrong with having a good time, but why you got to have a good time when your oppressor tell you to do it? And then, basically make you follow a false deity, Janus. They all gather Times Square for the ball to drop. You understand? Man, I mean, you control. That's what a slave is, controlled in every aspect of his life. His thinking. Get your mind first. That's the point. If he can control your mind, the body will follow. We talk about that. I wish we had the Willie Lynch letter book. I used to have it. I don't know if Cap got it. But it talks about that, how if the slave master could control the slave's mind, then the body will follow. And of course, he uses what the Most High say, the weaker vessel, to do that. Because what they did was they killed off all the male slaves and left the women and children alive. And then, of course, intimidating the women, they cultivated the women's mind to raise the children a certain way, to reverence the oppressor in all things, as God, as their, sugar daddy, so to speak, on Christmas. Think of what Santa Claus really is. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. It's crazy in every aspect of your life. And you know what? He pushes that in his media too. He changes. I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but I'm just trying to show you something. Every aspect of your life, your oppressor, so-called white man, Edomite in the Bible, changes things to distort you to worship and reverence him. Told you God was white. Told you Santa Claus was white. He told you everything that was good was white sugar. Everything you love and like is white. White. And then, when we look at you, look at your black ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, because if everything good is white, nobody can't stand you. And that's something we got to get out. Look at you. He got that good hair. You ever heard that? got that good hair. And then you look at your hair, ow! You're trying to comb your hair, and you hate yourself all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Trying to straighten out your hair, frying your hair, trying to look, because you believe that's the standard of beauty. Ain't nothing. Look, here's the thing. We got to stop listening to what the devil tell us and read this Bible. That's why it's important to come to class, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commander Junior High. And if anybody got any questions concerning the scriptures, ask your question. But it's important, man, because we got to take back our royal dignity according to God. Now, I know it seems we got humble settings and humble beginnings, but in the end of time, we're going to be the victors, and we're going to be revealed in the Most High's glory, what we really are. Yahshua, the princes of the power, princesses. It's strange right now on this side of time because, like I said, God don't exist in time. He created time. We exist in time.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? So therefore, we fear. God don't got to fear. Imagine you knew you was just going to live forever. You could jump off a cliff. You could do whatever because you're not going to die. But the fact that you know you can't do that produces fear. You see what I'm saying? And that's the point. Our time is valuable. It's the only currency you can spend that you can't get back. So you want to spend your time wisely so that you can increase your time, live to an old age. Of course, we come back. That's another class too. But yeah, you got to know this. The devil wants you to waste your time so you can't glorify the Most High with your life. See what I'm saying? Now, this is also interesting fact in the Bible. Let's go to the book of Joshua, chapter 10, verse 12. A lot of people bypass this. This was what people would say is a miracle. Joshua stopped time, so to speak. Interesting. I'm like, good night. And if that happened once, I wonder if it can happen again. It's real interesting things that the Most High talks about. That means he stopped the heavenly bodies from rotating. Good night. With a prayer from the Most High. It seems like fairy tales and fantasies, but I done lived long enough to see the miracles in my life. And some of y'all have too. You know what I mean? So if I will, we got that in the book of Joshua. I want you to read that if you could. Book of Joshua, chapter 10 and verse 12.
Did you next about the straw and break?
Oh, yeah, we're going to go back to that one too. Yeah, so, yeah, if you could, read that.
Joshua chapter 10, verse 12. Then spake Joshua
Now, this is
to the Lord.
To who? Now, this is important to the Lord, right? Go ahead.
In the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, son, stand thou still upon Gibeon.
He said what?
Son, stand thou still upon Gibeon.
So he spoke. He asked the Lord. He's speaking to the Son, which we read in the book of Genesis, how the Most High used those bodies to create time, the concept of time, to govern us, right? This is a miracle because he's asking for the sun to stand still. Interesting. Go ahead.
And thou, moon, in the valley of Ajolah, and the sun stood still. Verse 13. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed.
Right. So the concept here is that time stopped.
Right.
Our concept of time stopped. And this prophet of God prayed to him that happened. Why did he want to stop time? You know, have you ever watched movies back in the day when they try to manipulate time? You ever seen an old movie called Back to the Future? You ever seen those movies? It got something to do with time manipulation, going into the future, going into the past. I talked about that movie with Justin Timberlake, In Time. All these concepts of time is important. You know what I mean? They don't want to waste time in football. You know, it's the fourth quarter. 2 minute, what's it called? The 2 minute warning. What they call it? Forgot. You know, but the point is that they know I only got that much time to do something. You should look at your life and say, you know what? I got time today to make changes in my life. I'm not going to waste it on no foolishness. Going out here, going with the wrong crowd, doing the wrong things to anger the Most High God, celebrating New Year's, celebrating Valentine's Day, celebrating all these abominable holidays. Look, man, you can have a romantic night with your woman on your own.
Right.
Why you gotta wait for the white man to tell you when to make love to your woman?
Right.
Salaki, I'm just saying, why the white man today you get to kiss her. give your woman some hearts and flowers, and you get, today, because I said it. And the only way it's gonna happen is if my little fat white baby shoots you with an arrow to put you in the spirit.
Right.
Little cherubim. You see what I'm saying? What? Come on, man. I understand about having fantasies and having creative thinking, but sometimes we got to be logical and say, you know what? Let's do things the Most High's way. You got a question? Comment?
If I may, out of one, can I read verse 14? Because I know about the story. Verse 14.
Okay, go ahead.
Joshua chapter 10, verse 14. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of man, for the Lord fought for Israel.
And that's real heavy. No day like that. Good night. And that was something that the Most High wanted to be annotated in the scriptures, to give us a look at time being stopped, because any other time you can't stop time. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you in eternity. That's what eternity is. You not being bound by the laws of time, aging. You know what I'm saying? You ever see a plant age? You age, and the thing is, in really, in the mind of God, we wasn't designed to die, But the thing is when we got cursed in the garden, it set something off. You see what I'm saying? Now our body, because you read about those people in the scriptures like Methuselah. How long did Methuselah live? Y'all know about Methuselah? This was let me see. Just to prove a point, because some people think this is fairy tales. Methuselah. I can't say it. I damn Slocky can't spell it. Methuselah. Let me Google it. Let me see how you spell it. Methuselah. Meth. That's funny. It says meth in the name. Okay. But how long did Methuselah live? Because nobody recording the scripture lived over 1,000 years, but people lived. Methuselah came closest to live 1,000 years. That's time. Think about that. You lived all this time. You should have acquired all this experience and wisdom and knowledge. You'll know exactly what to eat and what not to eat, right? Okay, I can't eat that because that's poison. I'll eat this and it'll sustain my life. I know not to pollute the environment because that'll affect my health. Your oppressor goes against all that. Right. He alters food. He mess up the environment. He eat abominable things. He do all these manner of things. See, that's what I'm saying. Really, this is like the scriptures. You see what I'm saying? But it's so corrupt. Everybody's not on the same page. So even if we try to, even not say we live the laws, we got these external forces that's harming us anyway. You see what I'm saying?
So you want Methuselah?
Yeah. Let's read how Methuselah was, because that's important to understand the concept of time.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 5, verse 27. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died.
Right. He lived to be 969. You ever hear your grandmama say, yeah, he old as Methuselah? They used to say that back in the day because they knew that was the oldest recorded living person in the Bible. Go ahead.
What do you die when you're that old, Alwan?
Huh?
What do you die when you're that old? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it don't really say, you know what I mean? But it's one point in the scripture where the Most High just couldn't tolerate man. It got so wicked on the earth. You remember when it said that? His spirit, I'm just paraphrasing. He couldn't tolerate man. And that's what's going to happen toward the end too. The devil, he can't tolerate him now. You see what I'm saying? He can't tolerate the oppression, the different things he do. You got to look on TV and you got to see these transvestites. You got to see men kissing, women kissing, people laying up with dogs. All this abominable. I mean, it's crazy. It's turning, like when the scriptures say this is Sodom and Egypt, they mean that. And when you think about Egypt, it was a place of bondage. And then Sodom, that's where they get the word sodomy for all these lewd acts, Sodom and Gomorrah. That's how it would be in this end. That's why they're trying to legalize pedophilia. That's the next step. You see what I'm saying? They trying to do that, make things lawless. Right? What was we getting on that?
Did you want my spirit shall not always strive with man?
Yeah. Let's get that.
Convocations book of Genesis, chapter 6 and verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man.
Good night. That's one of the saddest scriptures in the Bible. Go ahead.
For that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years.
Now this is important. The Most High just spoke it. He set a limit. Now, do people live to be over that? Some people do. But the point is, it's just the concept of that range. You see what I'm saying? The Most High is saying, look, you're not going to live to be no 900 years and all that. My spirit's not going to strike. You're getting on my nerves, basically. That's what the Most High is saying about people, just like you got children. Some of y'all got children. Your kids, you give them too much freedom. They start spilling stuff and food. And like, I find this stuff behind the couch. What the hell? You know what I'm saying? That's what man was doing at the time. They just living lawless. These laws are to govern us. It's not some grievous thing. They actually give us life because the Most High created us. And the first law or concept was time. He gave us that to understand. The foundation. You want to know the foundation because that's what you waking up. You hoping you got some time to wake up tomorrow. Right. And that your time that you do have, you spending it right, glorifying God with your life. That's by living by the laws, statutes, and commandments. Now, if you in that Christian church or you worshiping Buddha or some Kemet, and you worried about some painting on the wall in a pyramid over in Africa that governs your life over here. When the goddamn oppressor's coming on top of your damn head every day. That damn picture in that pyramid can't help you. You see what I'm saying? But what can help you is these laws that tell you who your oppressor is. That can help you. Now you got that knowledge. Now when you see the oppressor, you know how to appropriate your life toward him. See what I'm saying? So you're not wasting your time in this class. I'm going to tell you that your oppressor, the so-called Caucasian, the Russian, the Frenchman, the German, Italian, whatever the hell you want to call him, is the devil. Right. The Bible speaks of. That's right. So I ain't wasting your time. I'm telling you the truth. And he'll prove it to you. He talks real nice. He talks really nice and calm. And hey, guys, how's it going? He talks real proper and nice to lure you in with his words. Sometimes, I listen to him like, man, yeah, he sound good. Yeah, so the only thing you have to do is just turn right at the stop sign, and then you just walk down that dark path. Right. He didn't tell you that the Ku Klux Klan was there. Right. See what I'm saying? That's him. Because what does it say? His words are smooth as butter. Wars in his heart. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to tell you the truth tonight. The devil wants you on his timetable. He wants to distort your time so he can distort your life. God's not the author of confusion. So just be mindful of your time. That's what I want you to get out of tonight's topic and you watching. Be mindful of your time and get on the Most High's calendar. We talked about right here, Joshua had an instance where he prayed essentially and stopped time. We don't get that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said, what did it say at the end of verse 14, I believe? It didn't happen again.
Joshua chapter 10, verse 14. And there was no day like that before it or after it.
Right. So, that's a rarity. You know what I'm saying? Not saying it can't happen, but it say right there was no day like it. Go ahead.
Shalaka Adaron. When it says that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of man, is that what like the Christian church thinks they're gonna get every time they say a prayer? They're just gonna get a hearkened answer from the Lord?
Yeah, Most High in Christ. They do think that name it and claim it. They say that just name it and claim it, keep believing and all that. What you don't know is that a lot of times when you see you watch those big time Christian networks, and it's real convincing. They have a man come there with a suit and say, "You live by a picket fence, don't you?" But think about it. You got a red car. Yes, I do. You're gonna come into some money, and then they just they start jumping up. But what they don't know is that that visitor card that they write last week with your address on it, they knew your address, dummy. And then they went out and seen where you live. And they said, well, such and such and such right there. We gonna what's that movie? I forgot it was a movie. It was he even had a earphone or something. They was telling the man what to say about the person. They go research your history and make it seem like they, found the Lord told them where you live. The Lord don't care about your slavery, but he care about that you got some money and you can pay your water bill or your electric bill. But he didn't care about your slavery, your diet. Why did the Lord tell you to stop eating that pig feed? You see what I'm saying? Why didn't the Lord tell you to stop being a goddamn whore? Why did the Lord tell you to treat your kids better? Why did the Lord tell you this stuff? But he told you that he knew you needed some money. So you're going to name it and claim it. Get your prayer handkerchief, your holy water, and all this other strange stuff. And it's very convincing to a lot of people. Why didn't Joel Osteen pray to God that he stopped the coronavirus? Right. Why didn't God hear his prayers if he's so powerful? T.D. Jakes now, Benny Hinn. He healed everybody. He healed all them Africans over in Africa. Why couldn't he heal Americans? You see what I'm saying? Because it's a sham. It's a big sham to keep us stupid. You see what I'm saying? And we can't believe we got to live by what the Most High say. I fall for it. I fell for it a couple of times. Give your money to that church. You just, give that. You're going to get the Boaz, rich husband. You're going to get, you're going to open the windows of heaven. Pour you out a blessing you cannot have room enough to receive. He's going to do all that. It sounds strange. You wait for that window. Like, damn, I'm broke. Shoot, man, I can't even get on the bus. Just waiting for God coming through. Look, the Most High going to come through, but you better do it his way. Not saying blessings and stuff ain't real. I know they real, but you can't, it ain't no naming and claiming and all that. See what I'm saying? If that's the case, the people that's naming and claiming stuff should have asked for their people to be out of captivity, right, and in the kingdom of Christ. That's what they should be asking for, not selfish ambitions. You see what I'm saying? So with that said, I think we're good on time, right?
Okay.
Unless anybody got any questions.
I said, did you want this Exodus real quick?
Yeah, let's get this real quick. This is real. This is a trip. It's a bonus right here.
Convocations, book of Exodus, chapter 5 and verse 6. And Pharaoh commanded the same day the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, verse 7, ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves.
Right.
Verse 8. And the tale of the bricks which they did make heretofore, ye shall lay upon them. Ye shall not diminish aught thereof, for they be idle.
Okay, they be idle. That's the point. What I was trying to bring out about this is the bricks, they just represent labor. And your oppressor wants you to labor so you don't be idle, so you don't have leisure to learn and become wise. That's the point I want to make with that. That's why you will say you idle. You need to go get a job. Ain't that what they tell you? Because see, you got time on your hands to learn how to get out of your oppression, to do things the Most High's way. But if you got to work third shift and a double all the time, you're not thinking about that. Right. You tired, dog tired, Bo. You ever seen that movie, Dog Tired, Bo? You tired as hell. You gonna lay in it? So I remember laying in bed in my uniform, tired, boots, afraid to, scared, too tired to take the boots off. Shoot, I was just wake up. Shoot. Wake up with your uniform on. You ever been that tired? I am. You got some.
Kind of one kind. I was just gonna say that's just part of their master dividing and conquering.
That's it. I'm sorry, Christ, for that comment. That's the point. And then think about everybody's on that same page. We can't never gather ourselves together. Old nation not desired.
Right.
Because we all got different thinking. We all are running a race in a different directions. Like I said, we supposed to be running everybody the same way. But we sprinting in a different direction, which is the wrong way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what we need to keep in mind. We need to go down the narrow path, like the scriptures say. We need to do it the Most High's way. Tonight's topic, history of the devil's timetable. We talked about in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14, how God is not the author of confusion. We talked about in the book of Genesis chapter 1, how the Most High made, he created signs and seasons to govern our time. Talked about in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3, that he created time to purpose things. You see what I'm saying? You plant a seed in the ground, in the process of time, it's going to grow, either a tree or some type of vegetation, but the variable is time. See what I'm saying? Talked about in the book of Daniel chapter 7, and how Daniel recognized that the oppressor was going to change and distort the concept of time by changing it. Try changing your alarm clock 2 hours and live by that. See if you get to work on time. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Talked about in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 16. We spoke about that. Let me see. I think the reason is to confuse you. That's just it. It's to confuse you. Talked about in the book of Joshua, 10th chapter, how Joshua had a supernatural encounter with time. He stopped it. We don't get that. For the most part, we don't get that. So we got to use our time wisely. God tell us to observe his feast days at certain times of the year. We don't want to miss the appointment. You know what I'm saying? And if you celebrating the new year, January 1st, 14 days from that's the Passover, right? It's the new year, right? That was the month of Abib. You got to celebrate the Passover. And then you on the wrong calendar. You're not on God's calendar. You're not on his timetable. You're on the devil's timetable. And with that, we'll pass the class over to Precinct Officer Monarch.
ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10, means 10th in the Hebrew, Ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, it's a free will offering for priests. It's not mandatory. as whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Oh, I forgot. Shema. Check on that calendar back there and tell me when the next high holy days will shut. It should be the one after Feast of Dedication.
Sure.
What day is that? February
14th day and the 15th day of the 20th month.
So
Monday the 14th February and Tuesday 15th February.
The one. So on Feast of Purim, which is February 14th through the 15th. You understand? You can Google Isupk Indianapolis to get the school's contact information to figure out all the details about that. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or a war scarf. And with that said, I'm Marium, which means to stand. Wapunya Haki Dum, which means to turn and face the east. This is the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawu, Shabbat Shemayim, Quadash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwithka, Thaba'ah, Ratazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'a Ratazah, Kawur, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanaw, Lakam, Ka, Yawam, Wasalakanaw, Kawabawathanaw, Kasalakanaw, Kawabawathanaw, Wala'a, Dawayayanaw, Banasaya 1, Abal, Hawashayanaw, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwith, Waha'ala, Wadaparith, La'alamyum, Aman. The Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Prayer for the Hakak, or the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Baba Kushah, Nathananahu, Hakak, Hakak, La Rapa'ah, Ka Makala, Wakar Marawa, Hakak, La Tahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakak, La Hakim, Hamathium, Hakak, Al Rakawah, Hatama Allah, Lagarshan, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Dawad Aman. The prayer for the power in the English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahushai. Thank you. So be it. The prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barak atah Yahweh, wa Yahushai, Wam Yaka'ala, wa Alahayim, Matazabiyah, Alawap Yahana, Ha Alawapyum, Hazaranyum, Ha Kwatazayanyum, Ha Kayayayum, Waha Akwathian, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Dawad Aman. Song, which means turn. Sisters Yeshabia. Salute to the brothers, men of Israel. Amadim Shabbat. Amadim Barak. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Barakathon. Yadim Matah. Sisters, Amadim, which means to stand. Sar, turn and face the sisters. Salute to the sisters, men of Israel. Amadim Shabbat. Amadim Barak. Yahweh Shamar Al-Thon Ba'ashem Yahushua. Yadim Matah. Class dismissed.